All righty. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Coaches Union. Already out of focus. Alex, how are you doing today, man?
My man, I'm great. Yeah, we're gonna throw this one up on YouTube regardless.
Yeah, we're just gonna hope maybe if I move less, it'll work.
You're so active.
Yeah, I just can't I get so fidgety now that we're doing like the camera stuff. I get like really hyper aware of my movements. And if like I just can't sit still.
Yeah.
Um, but you want to tell the audience what you just told me?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so my face is a little marked up. There's like some cuts and stuff on my nose. Long story short, jiu-jitsu practice last night. I was able to you know what? No, I don't want to do it. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alex did something cool that
Yeah.
I'll be proud of him for.
It's yeah, it's a respect thing. It's like what happens in the training room stays in the training room.
Got you.
Um, but just know, um, things are going really good in jiu-jitsu right now.
Hell yeah, dude. That's super exciting. Well, we got red flags to talk about, everybody.
Yeah, we
Quite a
may
few.
we may have to have a part two because there's a
Yeah,
lot on this one.
there's a lot. And I think one of the reasons that we want to talk about this is to continue to help educate. I think I can even speak for myself the first time that I hired a coach years ago, which is funny because some of these red flags are from his previous clients. You don't really know what to expect as far as what's deemed like an ethical service or a quality service. And I'm not even talking about like the plan itself in some regard. I'm talking about like the protocols and what the coach asks of you. Um, and because you don't really have a measuring stick, a lot of times people get misled, they get taken advantage of, they get put in really shitty spots, which is unfortunately why some of these stigmas do exist in the coaching space. So, what we want to do is kind of talk about a few of those so that if you guys are currently experiencing these things, um, run or choose not to and kind of, I guess, face the potential repercussions. But also, if you start noticing these trends with anybody else that you know, I think it's something to also bring to light to them. Um, so one of them was these are all kind of like categorized. We're just going to go one by one. The first one that we got was a client asking about protocol issues, and the response was, "This is what you have to do to be big enough for wellness." So Alex, you'd gotten this one. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like I would imagine the coach being referenced like doesn't know what that requires anyway. But first and foremost, if you're a client and you're having issues with gear, I don't care if you're trying to be a bodybuilder, like a women's open bodybuilding person. If you are experiencing an issue that you're uncomfortable with, that is your own red flag. Like, I don't want to do this, right? Um, so it's the when you take drugs, you take performance enhancing drugs, it's something you and your coach should weigh out the pros and cons, the risks, the rewards. And for me as a coach, I say, hey, look, like this is the risk, this is the benefits. I need to know where your line in the sand is and what you're willing to risk and what you're willing to not. Some people aren't willing to risk a lot.
Mhm.
But I can always come back to that. Like an issue pops up, hey, losing some hair, hey, got some clit enlargement, like whatever the case may be. My first response is, are you comfortable with this? Like, do we need to pull back? Like where I never say just hang in there. I never say this is what is required because that's kind of understood as like, yes, PEDs are required, but my guess, like knowing some of the background of that coach that was mentioned, the whole like PED like stack design was probably horrible to begin with. But if you're
Yeah.
with a coach who's educated and who can put together a good quality stack design, like let's say it's me or you or yeah, we'll use us. Like let's say the stack design is designed to be as low risk as possible
Mhm.
and like keeping virilization side effects as minimal as possible, but they still come up. The first thing we have to ask is, okay, if this is making you uncomfortable, we're going to go back. Like we're going to pull back some. But if a coach just says this is what it takes, it, in that situation, the coach is just not educated. Like I know that for a fact. But in more times than not, it's the same thing. Like they just don't know. Like they're doing stuff that they don't know the repercussions of the drugs, and if they do, they're just reckless and they don't care. It's those coaches that look at this is a hardener, this is a cutter, this is a
Mhm.
bulker. It's those coaches. But yeah, if you're having issues and you try to communicate that you're not comfortable with something, and your coach says this is what it takes, in your head as a client, just like, okay, well, that's not like I'm not willing to risk that. So what's next? Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, no, there's not. And I think it's like, I think it's an outrageous idea to say, because I can't even imagine what that protocol looks like. But when you, again, we're in a service based industry, and it's like it's our job to educate and manage these expectations. And so if someone comes to me and they say, "Hey, I want to be an Olympian," okay, the potential risk versus reward or the exposure is going to look a lot different than someone who's like, "Hey, I just want to try this out and see if I like it," right? But throughout any of that, even if someone says, "Hey, I want to be an Olympian," and then 4 years down the road they say, "Hey, I'm not comfortable with this," okay, then we don't do it. I don't understand how it's like a let me strong arm you into this, or let me guilt you, or let me leverage like, well, other people do this to try to get a protocol out of somebody that probably doesn't need to be had. Like I had one, this was last year, this coach put a first time competitor on a female on 100 milligrams of primobolan for 22 weeks, and then at like the 6 week out mark was going to pull out 50 milligrams of primobolan and then put in 50 milligrams of Winstrol daily, because that makes sense. But it turns out that the primobolan was actually testosterone propionate. So she was taking 100 mgs of test prop for like 16 weeks. And it was the same thing. We're going to put in Clin and Winnie at the end to really, tighten you up and all the other outdated bullshit. And her voice dropped. She was using one of the trackers on her voice. Her voice dropped 3.5 octaves. And when she showed him that footage, his response was, "Why are you roid raging so hard?" Like, how do you have the fucking audacity, dude? Like, because again, I was having this conversation yesterday at the barbershop. Like, as men, where we are privileged in this is we just have to look at side effects, right? That in most cases can be prevented or fixed rather quickly, within reason. With women, it's like that's it. She
Mhm.
can't get her voice back ever.
Yeah. And that's what's mind blowing with that one is it's like I could have caught it within a month if it's not primo. Like you should be able to catch that pretty quick,
Mm-hmm.
especially at that dosage. Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So yeah, there should have been lots of communication happening on that end way before it even got, one octave below, much less three. Um, it's sad, man. Like it's stuff like that where that stupid NASM certification kind of makes sense because like there's so many reckless people. It's like we got to do something, right? Um,
Yeah.
but that's mind blowing, and it's sad, man, because you're right. Like if a guy's gonna lose his hair, like just genetically, steroids are just speeding that up. Like he's
Yeah.
not like it's not like, oh, I took X drug and then I just lost my hair. But like a female, they're not genetically predetermined to lose their hair. Like they're not like so you have to be so I literally like just implemented some HRT stuff on a female like 20 minutes ago. And even before I did that, like I'm very confident in the calls I make. I was like, I'm still gonna double check with my boss because
Mm-hmm.
like you're a female. I really want to make sure that I'm covering all aspects. Like, because why not? Like, do we all know like I'm a pretty ego-driven person, but like I'm humble enough to not fuck someone up. Like,
Yeah.
I would much rather admit, like, yeah, I'm gonna double check me before I just throw things at you based on lab work, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's again, I think that's what like drives me insane nowadays because of how mainstream PED usage has become, there is enough information out there that's readily available to be able to fact check yourself. But there's also enough resources, enough people out there that you can also utilize in ensuring that you're making adequate decisions.
Yeah.
Like it's not fucking hard.
Yeah, and that's the tough part, man, because like, a lot of people look at my athletes and assume that like I just am like this reckless gear guy, right? And like it makes sense, sure. But the recklessness is in the protocols that don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. Like the random at 6 weeks we're doing this amount of wind straw. At this week's we're doing this amount of this. Like it's okay for coach to tentatively have an idea of when a compound may go in, but just to say we're doing it because it's time to do it is it's pretty reckless. And so that goes back to the first question or the first like statement of the red flag was like you and your coach need to be on the same page the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm giving you the biggest compound in the world, or I'm giving you like some, minerals and electrolytes for peak week, I'm going to tell you why. Like, I'm going to
Yeah.
explain to you at least like a little snippet. Hey, yeah, this is what we're doing. This is why I'm using it. Just so you understand, like the amount of people. And so while I do want client buy-in to always be there, your coach should have given you enough education and enough input that like you do have the clients who like my clients like I will jump off a bridge if you tell me. It's
Yeah.
because I've communicated with them so much and my stuff is proven to work. It's not like they just come to me and are like throw the kitchen sink at me, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have to build that. And if you haven't built that, then you as the athlete need to be like, hey, I'm not comfortable with that. Um,
Yeah.
I've had people leave coaches for me 4 weeks out because it's like, yeah, he's planning to do this diuretic protocol and I just don't want to do it. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's well, I can speak as one of your athletes. This is the least amount of stuff I've taken in a prep. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
And
I've go ahead.
and it's not like low, it's not
Yeah.
high, but it's not like I'm not giving you like a Candyland cycle either, but it's just with what's required. Like
Yeah, it's all well, it's also the same logic that I use with my people. And I've had people not want to sign up with me because of it. It's my goal is to use the least that we need the whole time. And we only need something if we need it. Now, in the beginning with a guy, I might be like, hey, make sure that you have these things available, or you can get them rather quickly if we need them, but we might not ever need to use them.
I find myself more often than not talking clients out of taking drugs than I do
Yeah.
like not like staying natural, but they'll come to me with a lot like a charcuterie board of drugs they want to take, and I find myself talking them out of a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you run, and this is a whole different topic, but you run into the clients who like they know the Deca 350 works for them, right? And so it's like wow, I don't really like it. I'm gonna find a way to like scratch that itch for them a little bit so they feel confident in using it.
For
Um,
sure.
you know,
Yeah. I hate DECA. Um,
I do too.
yeah, I just think, especially on the male side of things, it's already one thing. Like we already see outrageous protocols, but the female side of things, I don't understand. Like looking at it from like a coach's perspective too, like we're only as good as a reputation. I don't really comprehend wanting to like not take 20 minutes to do some research to then earn the reputation of ruining girls' lives.
Yeah, and that's the struggle, like, because nowadays research is Reddit, right?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
if you're gonna come to me as a client, like I've been researching, I'm gonna really need to see you. I'm gonna need to see some PubMed. I'm just gonna be honest. Like
Mhm.
if we're really now, there's a different now. If you come to me and you're like, hey, I've heard this, I'm all ears. Like I'm gonna work it out with you. I'm gonna talk it out with you. But if you come to me like I've been researching, I'm gonna be a stickler for about 5 minutes.
Mhm.
Because it's like, how many times do you have a great experience at a restaurant and go leave a review? Probably not that many. How
Yeah.
many times do you have a terrible experience and you're like, I'm gonna make them pay? it's the same thing with like drug experiences. Like you're always going to hear of like the worst stories ever. And then you're looking at Reddit and you don't if you were to take that and try to go present it as a case study, there's so much flawed data because we have no control other than this one thing that they just so happen to take this compound.
Mhm.
So that's where I get, lost in that. But again, whole different topic. We'll stay on coaching red flags.
Yeah, well, it's anecdotal too, because it's like, how can we guarantee that what you're taking is what you're saying you're taking in the amount and your, family history for predispositions and this, that, and the third. Like you can really very quickly tear that apart. The other one that is I've been researching is I watched a YouTube video about it or I saw a TikTok about it. Um, anyways, yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't understand how coaches can't just figure it out. But next one, Snapchat is not a means of communication for a coach and client. I love. We both know who this is about.
That dude was literally like his girls were checking in on Snapchat. Oh my God. Um, I feel like you shouldn't even like I feel like you shouldn't even have to say like why would I want your stuff to disappear? Why would I want it on this app? What can I do on Snapchat that like I literally can't do anywhere else? Like that's blows my mind.
It's also because we'll add the next one into it because it's the same person. Nude check-ins required.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, and it's the same person because yeah, um,
Yeah.
it's fucking weird, dude. Like it's just so peculiar to me. Like here's what I tell, and it's in my intro guide. It's what I tell all my women. You check in what you are comfortable with. I have women who check in spandex shorts and a tank top. I have women who check in their posing suits, their practice suits, swimsuits. But I leave it up to the individual because I do coach a wide array, like you do too. Like I coach a wide array of women, some who want to compete, some who just want to get in good shape, right? And so I leave it as long as it's in the same spot and it's the same lighting. It's all I really care about. And I leave that up to them. That's not for me to decide for somebody. Now, I do tell people up front though, is like, hey, if we want to step on stage, over time we are going to have to develop confidence in being familiar and being in a suit. But that is for when that time comes. It doesn't have to be like right now.
Yeah, it blows my mind now, like how people can sexualize the sport in general. Like I don't understand that, but like how someone could sexualize a check-in really blows my mind, right? Like, as a coach, you're going to coach pretty women. Like if you're, a female coach, you're going to coach pretty guys too. Like there is nothing, at least to me, but like I feel like I'm freaking normal. There's nothing hot or attractive about a check-in photo. If anything, that's like the worst. Like they're usually like bedhead, no makeup, like sleepy eyes. Like there's why you would want to sexualize someone in their most vulnerable state when they're literally just trying to like show you what they're working on and trying to get genuine feedback to improve it, why you would take that time to sexualize that blows my mind. And so saying that like doubling down on that and being like, oh, well, you need to not have clothes on also blows my mind. All I need to see in a check-in is like yes, as you get closer to stage, yes, I do need to see you in closer into a suit, right? But like, I just need to see the little under part of your glute and hamstring. I need to be able to see that. I need to be able to see like some low back, and I need to be able to see like your stomach, belly button area. But like, however you want to do that, by all means. Like, in fact, the further we get away from stage, the more I say to cover up. Because
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to look good 54 weeks out in your posing suit. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're not meant for that. They're meant to be like 12, 8, 10 weeks out. Um, so yeah, I mean, I've never understood that. And again, it goes back to like having a morally sound coach. You just that is not the time for anything. So that's not the time for sexual references. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think the most I've said like girls want to build their butt, right? It's just like a thing. I think the most I've said, which like I get along with my clients where I'm like, damn girl, like we've put on a butt. Like I think that may be
Yeah,
the most like reaching thing I may say. But again, we're friends enough that I can say that and I'm not being a creeper.
for sure.
Like because it's on
Yeah,
a
yeah,
normal like space of communication. It's not on fucking Snapchat. Like that's stupid.
yeah. I think the Snapchat, first of all, is just crazy because it's like just admit you don't want a paper trail of shitty behavior. And going back to like the check-ins too, man. I just like don't like I can see everything I need to in a posing suit. I don't need to see more. I don't want to see more, truthfully. And I always tell my athletes too, I'm like, think of me as your gay best friend. Like, because I get to hear about poop and periods and boy problems and everything in between all day, every day. Like, none of this is sexual. Like, this is, if anything, it's emotionally exhausting to like to be a part of. But
Yeah.
it's like it's what we're here for, right? Um, and the sport doesn't need to be sexualized. And I'm like, also the same thing is like, if you need to coach to try to get laid, you need to figure out a lot of things about yourself.
Dude, and that's the thing with coaching, man, is again, like these athletes are in their most vulnerable state, but like you're going to see a nipple at some point. You're going to see a butt cheek at some point. Like
Mhm.
suits get contorted and twisted and like, oh, I need, will you hook this real quick? But like you need to be an adult and like and it's okay because the closer you get to those athletes, the more it's like, okay, I'm just looking at my sister or like I'm looking at my child or my cousin. Like there's nothing sexual about it. But if you've been sexualizing your clients and then they're in a vulnerable spot where you need to like, hey, will you just hook this real quick? Like I got to get ready for stage and you're Mr. Creepy Perv. Like that's so uncomfortable. They don't want to be left in a room with you. They don't want to ride with you to a show. Like
Mm-mm.
but because you've laid that foundation that this is inappropriate behavior is going to happen. And so
Yeah.
that like just be an adult, man. It's like when you're backstage and you're tanning, like, yeah, there's gonna be like dudes with no nothing on because like they gotta dry out and a girl may walk by, but she's not like, oh my gosh, look at that. Like that's the best package. Like that's not what the sport is. It's just like if you accidentally you're walking through the tanning tent and there's a naked girl right there. Like you're not like it is what it is, man. Like you have to be a mature adult. And it blows my mind that people think that people do make money and still sexualize athletes like that. But it's like I could keep going on forever, man. But it genuinely makes no sense.
It's gross, dude. It's just really sad. Um, yeah. So that one coach out there, he's probably not listening. Who am I kidding?
Dude,
Um,
I had a girl one time. Her coach asked me to look at her, and we were at a show. We're at the check-ins at the show. Like, yeah, we just look at her real quick, and like I walked back. Um, And girl didn't have any like she was like about to change, like about to drop sweats. And I was like, "Yeah, you got your suit on?" She's like, "Nope." And I was like, "Oh, we're getting out of here."
no,
Like,
sir. No,
like no,
sir.
what do you want me to look at? Like, no.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just like that's a red flag for me. If we had
Yeah. I'm,
competitor red flags, like, no, see ya. Like,
yeah. I'm
I'm
okay. I am so okay.
I'm not getting goobed. No way,
That's what I'm
dude.
saying, bro. It's a trap. Um, yeah, it's just gross. It's like this sport shouldn't be sexualized. Let's not make an effort to do so. Um, next one, coaches cherry picking what clients to repost.
That made me sad.
Yeah,
Made me sad. Um, we all see it, right? Um, I think I have some clients, they tag me and stuff every day. And I repost. I'm gonna repost 95% of what you tag me in. Because at the end of the day, regardless if you're a pro or if you've never competed before, you pay me for my time with your hard-earned money, regardless of where you're at. And so the clients who want to tag me and repost me and do all that, I will always repost you. The only time I don't repost you is if and I even get better at this. If you're doing a movement so wrong that I can't even vouch for it for John and Luke to see, then I can't repost it. If I do repost it, I will go through and like make suggestions on what you need to do and improvement wise. But it's never a sense of it's more like, hey, I can't have that representation of like my training out there. Let's fix this movement first and then I'll put it back out there. But if you're tagging me in an update and a transformation and whatever, I'm always going to repost you. I don't care how many followers you have. Like it's, I also another thing I didn't like. I didn't repost this the other day because my client Ruben, I love him. He's going to be a hell of a rookie this year.
Mhm.
Um, he reposted like he was driving and like I guess his girlfriend got crumble and it's like he took a picture of the crumble cookies and posted on a story. Like, no, I'm not going to repost that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
if it's something you're genuinely like, I'm proud of this coach, like I'm all in. And so the fact that coaches do that, it makes me really sad.
Yeah. I go back and forth because I am in agreement. Like if someone's very proud of what they're doing, I'm always going to repost it and celebrate with them, comma, but unless it's not what aligns with what I'm seeing behind closed doors.
Yep. Okay.
Right. You see what I'm saying? Like, and I will say, dude, like when I wasn't doing my shit, you weren't reposting me, and that's okay. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, so there's a certain point where I'm like, this isn't genuine and doesn't align with your actual current habits that we're having conversations about, and like checking in and this, that, and the third. So like, don't post saying that you're on your shit and you're not, because I'm
Yeah.
not enabling that behavior. Um, so our times in a place for that. Or like I also don't do like the repost of the repost of the repost stories. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that shit I'm not doing either. Because I also sometimes already feel annoying on social media with how much I put on my story. So I'm like trying not to do that. But I do agree, man. I think like you see it from some coaches especially who have like some like very high level talent, but then like I know people on their team that have never been acknowledged, and that's just like really really disappointing to see.
Yeah. Because if it like, and again, this is me thinking out loud. Like, I don't plan what I'm going to say, but like, I'm just thinking if I have an athlete, like if I post a rookie athlete who's been with me for 5 weeks, they just got into bodybuilding, and I post that to my story, that doesn't take away any of the accomplishments or the accolades or the amazing physiques I've put out. Like,
Mm-mm.
I feel like everyone can look at that and be like, okay, yeah, they're just getting started with Alex. Like, I can't wait to see where that goes. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
why? And I think the point behind like, what the person was saying when they brought this topic up was like, all they want is the clout of their big name clients, and we see that a lot, unfortunately, but it sucks because it doesn't do anything more for me than, like posting a big name person and then not like the big pages like the buys and tries and bodybuilding without borders, they're going to follow and like what they want anyway. And then the ones that they don't, well, they'll just look past it. There's times where like, and I think that's more stories. Like most times, like even like I try to make my page, like my coaching page, I try to make that needs to be like a brochure of my
Mm-hmm.
coaching. So those are going to be like big bullet points. Like even if we don't win, but like a physique looks good, I'm going to make a post about him. Because like obviously you can't win them all, but I do think it is important to acknowledge your athlete, in some way, shape, or form. Um, yeah, that's why, because I have had some people like, they thank me. Like, man, thank you for reposting that. And I'm like, right.
Yeah,
Like, I didn't think twice about it. But it does suck that people are all in it just for the clout and the followers and not genuine. Like I said, like my take is on it, you're just as much of a paying athlete, and as long as you're working hard, I'll go to bat for you any day of the week.
for sure, for sure. Being that we know that we're going to bat, you know what I mean. That's
Mhm.
kind of always been the caveat for me. Um, Next one is cookie cutter plans. So it says like bikini girl getting wellness plans and the coach saying it'll be adjusted. I had one too that was somebody received a plan that said for Erica and their name is in fact not Erica. Um, this is again, and this goes back to looking at you got to kind of look, and this is the hard part when you're a consumer because we see these big teams and with all these coaches and all these other things, and you think that's the way to go. And while it might be sometimes, the issue is when you have somebody working with 300 people on a weekly basis and they are working a 40-hour work week because most people work generally 40-hour work weeks. Especially if you see one of these coaches who also is always on social media posting, always out doing something posting. It's like, okay, how much are we really working on a weekly basis? And then we look at that from the perspective of, let's say they have, I don't know, 250 clients divided by 40. That means that they're supposed to be working with 6.5 clients every hour, which very quickly means that you're getting less than 10 minutes of their attention on a weekly basis, which means you're going to get a copy and paste plan.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, it goes back to like when you work with such a large volume of people, right? Like first you have to take into consideration that person's ability to move. Like their limitations and restrictions are going to be different than another person. At the same time, oftentimes bikini needs are going to match bikini needs, wellness needs are going to match wellness needs to an extent. And so what I mean by that is like you're going to be hinging and squatting and leg pressing. So like if you're a
Mm-hmm.
bikini girl, like if my bikini girls asked each other what their training was, they probably look pretty similar.
Yeah.
Not because like it's a copy and paste cookie cutter thing, but it's like they both kind of need the same stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
there may be, oh, instead of a pendulum squat, one's doing a Smith machine squat, or instead of this, but like they may both be in a like their leg workouts may be identical. They may both be doing the same thing, but it's just where they're at as an athlete, and they're built pretty similar, and that's just what it is. Because while yes, there needs to be variances based on recovery capacity, based on, range of motion limitations and things like that. At the end of the day, there's only so much exercises you can pick from. So where these flaws that I'm seeing is like they didn't even take time to like erase the division of like, hey, that was supposed to be a bikini girl, or change the name from so and so to so and so. Like you didn't even, so if you didn't even take time to do that, I know you didn't go through and read their Q&A and be like, okay, yeah, they actually have like bad ankle problems. Let's do this. Like so you didn't even mix it up a little bit. Like it's okay to have a framework, but
Mm-hmm.
like when you don't even make any adjustments, and that's where there's an issue because it's like you're just not trying, you're just blindly throwing stuff out there.
Yeah. And then it's like we go back to, like, we've talked about like reliability within an athlete, but then you look at it within a coach. If somebody isn't willing to take the 7 seconds to even change the name of the plan to send it to you, how do you expect them to handle a peak week effectively? Like when shit's really, we're really having to play and really having to pay attention and really having to put in some time and effort, because you're probably going to get your peak week 2 weeks in advance and it's not going to work, you know. And to your point, like generally speaking, I have people, if I have a bikini girl who trains 4 days a week and I have another bikini girl training 4 days a week, and they come to me in similar positions, their plan in the beginning might look very similar. Obviously, there's going to be some changes depending on like injuries, exercise preference, because that's something I do try to take into account. But then as we go through some training blocks and we go through training footage and assessing things and ideally training in person, then it starts to evolve. It evolves throughout that process, right?
Yeah.
It becomes very case specific. Like Anna Terry is a great example. Like we have restructured her training split like 4 times this year to try to fit specific to her criteria within the division.
Mhm.
We continue to refine and revamp and kind of adjust things as we need. But in the beginning phases, if you get a regional level bikini girl who needs more hams and glutes, and you got another one that also needs more hams and glutes, you guys are probably both doing RDLs and hip thrusts, right? Like, so when I say that too is like what movements work, or that we assume work in the beginning, and it's when we're going through these training footage, these movement patterns, assessing them, and also getting your feedback as the athlete, then we get to start understanding what actually works specifically to you, because in the beginning it is an educated guess
Mhm.
that we're using based off of our experiences, and then it goes. But in this case it's like, dude, it's like at least take the 10 fucking seconds before you press Control C, Control V to fucking clean the shit up. Like,
Yeah. And I'm with you, man. Like we both agree on that. I, it's not the initial like, and I say this about nutrition. Any idiot can write a diet plan. Any idiot can
mhm,
write a training plan. The education and the intelligence comes when you have to make a change. And so with the training, yeah, they may start very, very similar, but then you find out one can keep going and one can't. They can't handle the fatigue, they can't handle the recovery capacity, they can't handle that movement pattern. You gotta swap it out. So then as they progress, they both start going separate ways. And then by the end of the training block, they have two totally different programs.
Mm-hmm.
But then you may have a third one who comes in and they see very similar, like, build the same, their training history is the same. It's like, okay, yeah, like I saw what worked with these two. How can let's see which route she travels. And she may go
Mm-hmm.
down one of those two roads. She may create her own third row. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
using females as an example, but like guys are the same way too. Um, like while yes, not every guy can truly dumbbell press, when it's time to freaking press, we're gonna press. And it's just finding what press patterns you can work with.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Ooh, constantly having people in prep for metal chasing. There's a one in particular that this was brought up about.
I wish I knew who it was.
You can guess. It's somebody who has, 10 to 20 people in the same show every year that
Oh, but
nobody else shows up to.
he's only at like 4 shows.
He's only at 4 shows, but they're always just 20 people. And again, we've talked about this. From the optics of it, if you don't really know what you're looking for as a consumer, and that's okay, and you go on someone's page and you're like, oh, dude, they went to this show and fucking cleaned house,
Yeah,
because that's all you see. It's like, well, it's a numbers game. If they have 20 people there and there's only 50 people in the show, statistically, they're going to win something,
yeah,
right? Especially when you have your clients do every fucking class that they can. So, yeah, when they take that group picture and they all have medals, you also forget that as someone who knows people who've been in this mess, you're not getting peaked. You're not getting looked at. You're just showing up on stage like kind of okay. Because again, no, I don't care who you are. I don't think you can peak 20 people successfully at a time.
no. But that's the thing, man. Like it, that stuff bothers me because like I'm literally flying places to
Mm-hmm.
find competition for athletes because I know they're so good. I don't want that stigma of like, oh, Alex is like bullying people around here. Like and so when people still do that, it's like, yeah, whatever. Like the real ones know what's up. But that is something I've seen a lot of is like, they'll start prepping and we'll hey, I'm doing Battle River this year, and they go and they get fourth. Oh, all right, let's keep going. We gotta get a little bigger. Let's do Night of Champions in November, like, and then so they keep paying and they keep prepping, and it's like, all right, they get their ass kicked Night of Champions. All right, well, let's do junior whatever to 2026. So let's do that, and then so they keep constantly feeding them this dream and like, oh, the judges didn't know what they're looking at. We need to go here. And what they're doing is they're renewing buy-in with their athlete by giving them this like dangling fruit of like, oh yeah, come get it. And that's like rather than like making them buy in on their coaching or buy in on their work ethic or their attention to detail, they're just buying in on, well, you're going to do this show. And the athlete's like, okay, like, and then they run them into the ground and they never want to compete again after that. So, it sucks, man. Like, but that is a lot of low mid-level coaches do that. The same ones you see, the ones with all the big, they try to be the Fit Body Fusions, but they're not. They're like the Walmart brand. They're at all
Yeah.
the local, whatevers. Those are the ones that you see it and you're like, oh, it's whatever, man.
Yeah. It's especially too, like looking at it from another angle, like the mental and physical health of the client. Like you can't, I'm going to say this actually, because this is a conversation that I even forgot to tell you about. I had someone reach out to me like 2 days ago, and they're in somewhere in the state, and like, hey, I've got some concerns about prep and where I'm at. And this is one of the things that we wanted to talk about was like your trajectory of a prep. And I said, okay, what's up? They said, well, I've been in prep since I hired a coach in January, started prep in January. I've been in prep and I'm prepping for a couple shows in August. Okay. My calories are at 1,000. And I said, okay, that's not good. And I was like, can you send me your most recent check-in pictures? And they were probably, I would say, like an 18-week outlook. So we've been in prep for 17 weeks. We are now down to 1,000 calories. We are at the halfway mark. We have about a 17 to 20 week outlook. We have another 18 weeks to go. That's not normal. I need to allude to everybody. You should not be on 1,000 calories. I've had a 5 foot tall, 107 pound bikini girl eating 1,300 calories going into her peak week. You don't have to do that. But you shouldn't be on 1,000 calories that far out, especially at that body fat percentage. Um, but you see it all the time. And I said that because it's like you should not be in like I've done a 33 prep. That was not supposed to that I needed that. Granted, I was also male, I was also using PEDs. It's a little bit different than if you're a natural female. You should not be in perma prep year after year after year. Anything less than 6 months, I don't even consider 6 months. Anything less than 10 months is not an off season post show. That is a health phase and into a reverse. Like you need adequate, again, as somebody who, and I say it and I will eat my words, Alex, you were right. When we got done with Night Champions, Alex was like, you need a year and a half. And I was like, I don't know about that. I needed a year and a half for
Yeah.
fucking sure. Right. And so it's like there has to be more time in between shows, especially if you're not getting the placings that you're hoping for. But if you want to go to the next level, whatever that looks like, taking a little 2 month hiatus post show and then starting another prep, if that's what your coach is endorsing, I think that is incredibly immoral. Um, and then within that too, one of the other ones we got is not caring about blood work. Because that was another thing I brought up. I was like, has your coach asked for blood work? She's like, no, no, not once.
That's that's wild. Like just because like if you're prepping someone that long, that makes no sense. Like
Mm-hmm.
clients get bothered when I say we're going to do a 24-week prep or a 22-week prep, but like even at that, we're not at like Olsen twin calories for 24 weeks. Like we're like it's we're yes, we're being locked in for 24 weeks, but there's like calculated decisions we're making so that you can last that long. But yeah, just the fact that one people diet that long but then don't run labs, it's like not saying you have to run labs anytime you want to make a decision, but like even if you weren't prepping, you would still need labs within a 10-month period. Like it's usually before prep and then sometimes towards the end or maybe at the end. Like if you run into issues, yeah, maybe the halfway point. But that's it's sad that coaches do the bare minimum and still charge like the most. Like,
More, I've seen rates triple mine doing this.
yeah, and that's where again, it goes back to clients just they think that that's what it is, like because they've only ever experienced it. They saw the whatever advertisement, they got on with that team, and hey, this is it. This is bodybuilding coaching. But there's so much more out there, and hopefully, yeah, like this list honestly it makes me sad, man. It makes me sad.
It's just disappointing, dude. Like it makes me very jaded towards the industry because, like, again, it's not hard. And I say this, like, it's not hard to write a decent plan. It's not challenging whatsoever, but it's also not hard to care. And like that's what this industry is about. Like we are in the service-based industry where we have to work with individuals on a daily basis and care about them to want to see them be successful. As this requires a lot of effort from both. It takes a village, in my opinion, to get someone on stage successfully. Um, and so for someone to like come into this and then not give a shit and then mistreat people like genuinely drives me insane because like go do any other job where you don't have like go do IT or something. You'll make way more money probably, but then you also like don't ruin people's lives in the process.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately the state of branding because like now everyone thinks that they can be a prep coach. And now prep coaches are trying to sell you on how to be a prep coach. And so it's like it's already so oversaturated. Like we don't need more coaches. We need better coaches. Like there's not a we need better coaches.
And here's my thing. I've said this for so long. I also don't comprehend the famine mentality within coaching because there's plenty of people to help. There's all the people in the world to help, and bodybuilding is becoming more and more popular. I want to see. the coaches out there be the best that they can be. One, because I'm competitive and I like to beat people at their best, but two, for the sake of the industry. Like, I can't coach everybody. You can't coach everybody. We can't save everybody all at the same time. And that's okay. But if we as a group of individuals can actually work together or work ethically towards this, then we can help a ton of people. Like, again, like, it's the same. It's the whole notion of what this is with the coaches union is like, we are technically adversaries when it comes to putting people on stage. I want to see you at your best. You
Yeah,
want to see me at my best. Who does it hurt? Because we want our clients to succeed.
yeah. And I totally blanked on what I was gonna say. Um, but yeah, like just the coaching in general, the state it's in, it's sad. And like I said, like, we need better coaches. We need coaches that care, I tell people all the time, like, because, dude, I hear it, and just like you hear it all. Like, people come to me, did you hear what so and so's doing? Did you hear? Look at what this is doing. Like, and it's to the point, man, where I literally say, I can't save everybody. Like,
Yeah.
I can't. I cannot. I do not have time to help your friend who's doing something wrong. I don't have to, I cannot save them. And that's what frustrates me the most is a lot of these stories that get thrown at me or people come to me talking about, the clients know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
They may not have my phone number, but they follow me on Instagram. Like, I'm right here. I've been here. I've been here for 7 years. I ain't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you're doing all this dumb shit. I'm not wasting my time going out of my way to help you. Like, because you know where I'm at. You know where my rates are. You knew where my rates are when I charged $150 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not my place to step in and help you now.
But
Because
Alex, they thought about signing up with you
yeah,
before,
like, dude,
you know?
my allegiance is to my paying clients.
Mm-hmm.
And I love giving that response. Like, I can't save them. If they want to do that dumb shit, if they want to follow that idiot coach, if they want to do that aggressive whatever, cool. But like, it's not my job. My job is to coach my clients because those are the people that want to listen to me anyway.
Yeah. I'm like, if you're gonna buy in, then you get first dibs. Like we talked about. Like, I don't really understand how that's hard to understand. Um, No, and it sucks to see, man. Like, there's always a part of me that's like, I wish, or I wish they would open their eyes and kind of understand what they're going through is not normal. Because again, I can tell you right now, if you're on 1,000 calorie diet, weeks out from a show, not good. If you're on a liquid diet, not good. Like, there's so many things that we see every single day that make me roll my eyes into the back of my head. But ultimately, if that's what they believe is the best for them, then I guess so fucking be it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I had a call. Guy reached out to me. He's like 4 weeks out, was having some prep issues, blah, blah, blah. I took the call. I was like, yeah, I mean, he was in shape. I was like, yeah, I could probably get it done in 4 weeks. Let's do it. Took the call. Within about 7 minutes on the call, I knew the guy, well, he wasn't going to listen to me because every time I would say something or ask something, he would always go back to his spreadsheet and his plan and what he had been doing. So finally, after about the 7, 8 minute mark, I just told him, I said, hey, man, I'm gonna be honest, dude. There's no point in paying me to finish this out. You already know you're not going to listen to what I say because, like, you want to do what you want to do. And so I made him a bullet point. Like, I made him a list of like 5 things what I would say to do. And I said, literally, if you paid me $400 to get started today, this is what I would be implementing. I said, you can choose to do all of it. You can choose to do none of it. You can choose to do one of it. I was like, but if you want to work with me, reach out to me after your show because I know for a fact you're not going to listen to me. And that's where I'm at with bringing on clients and coaches and trying to save people. It's like you can't waste your time because
Mm-mm.
your roster that is already bought into you, I don't have time to try to like prove a point that I'm a good coach. Like, you either want to work with me and know what I'm doing and I know what I'm doing, or you don't.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, I don't know how else to
Yeah.
conclude that,
I would have loved to have been like, yeah, bro, give me your money and we'll figure it out. But like at that point, I'm like, no, this is giving me a headache.
It's just not worth it, dude. Because and listen, like and one of the things we got was coach just goes along with whatever the client suggests. So it's kind of a good segue. I'm all for a collaborative process within reason, right? Meaning food preferences, like exercise selection within reason. Like there's certain things that I'm all for getting the client's input and feedback on to try to make the plan as exciting and as fun as possible, especially from a nutritional perspective. So there are a lot of times where I'll have a client, like I had one yesterday, hey, ran out of whey protein, don't really want to buy any more. Can I do a lean protein for my meal instead? Yeah, absolutely. And I adjusted the plan. Super simple, doesn't hurt my feelings, doesn't make my life any harder. So there's certain things that I'm always going to be willing if a client can also present a compelling case as to why they should do something and it makes sense to me, why not? Because then they feel that they've also contributed and that they're being heard and they get to do something that they're excited about, which I think sometimes actually leads to more results than anything. But there's also a certain line that has to be drawn in that sand, where it's still my decision at the end of the day. And so I've had some people in similar spots come to me and I'm like, do you just want me to be a soundboard for you to say you're doing the right thing? Or do you want my opinion on what I think is the correct thing to do? And I'm not willing to take someone in the fourth quarter, them not listen to me, and then I'm the one who gets blamed for it at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's a tricky spot to be in because like if if a coach is just telling you yes, they're just a yes man. Like they're
Yeah.
just like even if you're right, like I work with coaches, like I coach coaches, and that's a difficult spot to be in because like I may even see their point and I may like low key agree with it sometimes. But if standing on my foundation principles of coaching and what they're wanting to do doesn't align with it, at the end of the day, if it were to put me in a spot that's going to that I'm not going to be able to control the output of the final look, I'm going to say no. Um, and so that could be as extreme as like, hey, I'm pulling Greek yogurt out 4 weeks out because anecdotally that's what I've seen. I'm not taking any chances on it.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying it's right or wrong, just what I've seen. Um, from something so little like that, or like, hey, we're actually not going to do this dose of trend. We're going to add this oral in instead. We're going to pull this out and do this. Like, or it could get very advanced. So but at the end of the day, like I always love when clients want to work with me on things. I have some very smart clients who've learned from me over the years. They learn from John or Luke, or they coach themselves, and they want to try stuff. And so I like to give them, like, hey, this is a mutual relationship. Like, I trust your feedback. Let me
Mm-hmm.
know if you like this diet or you like this exercise. And if you don't, let me know what you want to swap it with. Because at the end of the day, the best plan is one that someone can adhere to. It's my
Mm-hmm.
job to maneuver it and manipulate it how I see fit to where like they can follow it and it fits within what I require. But yeah, if your coach is just constantly being like, yes, like let's do that, let's do that. What do you want to do? Like that, you don't have a coach. Like y'all are just winging it together at that point, and it's more than likely because they don't want to lose you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think by now, if you haven't worked with me or you've just heard me speak, like I don't care if I lose a client. I care if I lose a client. I don't care if it's because I'm standing on a principle that they don't agree with and they want to like butt heads with me on. I'm the first guy that, hey, you know what, this isn't gonna fit. Take your money. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I just had one last fucking week. You know what I mean? Because it's like there are certain things that we can absolutely collaborate and workshop on when it comes to fucking workouts and stuff like that. But you're not gonna tell me what you're gonna do. That's not what we're doing, right?
Yeah. And I should be able to like, if I'm calling the shots, which I always call the shots, I should be able to educate you enough on the shot I'm calling that you're going to buy into it. Or like
Mm-hmm.
you'll at least see my point of view on why we're not going to do what you want to do. Whether that's, again, how big or how small, but like that's where that trust comes in. And if it doesn't work, cool, blame me after. I'll be the first to tell you I made the wrong decision. But I'd rather
Mm-hmm.
it be on me than like, well, we tried it your way, but I knew my way was going to work.
Yeah, the what if drives me insane to think
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's a fine line. It's kind of hard because there's sometimes where I feel like, and it's much like anything, it's also learning the individual, right? I think sometimes in the beginning phases of working with a client, if you give a little bit too much you give an inch, they take a mile type of deal. I've
Yeah.
ran into that with a few people. It's always just like very ego driven people where it's like you give them enough leash and they just hang themselves with it. And it's just
Yeah.
really uncomfortable. But I think it's just like a lack of coachability. Because again, at the end of the day, like you have seen something that I have done, produced, or been about, and said, I think this guy knows what he's doing. I'm going to give him my dollars to tell me what to do to get me where I want to be. And then you're like, well, but I want to do it my way.
Yeah.
Well, then coach yourself. I've coached myself. Coach yourself. You can figure it out. Um, or you hire me and let me do it and I can just get you there.
So this made me think of like, so I'm at a spot where I've overseen coaches peak athletes. I've been like a second set of eyes and just a soundboard, and um, that's not everyone can do that. Like, and so the first thing I say when I do that is I'm like, I need you to tell me, like the coach, I'm talking to the coach. I'm saying, I need you to tell me what you're seeing first, because I don't want whatever I say to change your train of thought. Because at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, you're bringing me in for 10, 14 days. You've been with this person for a minimum 20 weeks, if not a couple months, couple years. So, like, they have to be the one to make the final call because, and then so that's where in a situation like that, it is tricky. And but that's why I'm bringing it up. Like, I may know more, have more experience, whatever. At the end of the day, that coach has to be fully confident with their decision.
Mm-hmm.
And so, even though I'm like, and I've found myself in spots where, I don't know if I would have done that. I may do something different. I never say that. I just voice like my thoughts and what I'm thinking, what I'm seeing, what the trend I'm expecting to happen. And then they start adjusting as to what they know that person's body does. But if I were to come in here and say, that's not what you do, I don't do it that way, you don't do it, it fucks the whole thing up.
Yeah.
And so, how I would much rather go about it is, let's say, okay, I'm with them for one show and then another show. I would much rather the coach lead 90% on their own on the first one. And then if they really want to change something in a different direction, like, hey, this next show, I really want to bring him in fuller. This next show, I really want to bring him in drier. Will you help me guide them that way? I would much rather go about it like on that second little bump to really like let me play a little more than like the first one. I'm just the principal coming in, watching the teacher teach the kids. And then
Mm-hmm.
it's like that, but that second one is when I'll let it fly a little more because and not that a coach didn't get it right or get it wrong, but they just really want to do something different. And we know what the first look brought, and then we're going to play with the second one. But I say all that because it goes back to the client. Like, you can't just listen to what the client wants. Like, you can't listen to, oh, the client wants to be drier, fuller, bigger, or harder, or whatever. You can't listen to that. Just like a
Mm-hmm.
coach can't ask another coach, and then it throws them all off and like, well, I wasn't even thinking about that at all. So that's how like just communication in general can go a long way, whether it's coach to client, coach to coach, coach to coach to client, like whatever that may be.
Yep. It's challenging for sure. But it's something that like I think too though it's important as a coach to be one to have those resources, have other coaches that you are comfortable and trust to like have their opinion provided. Because I've also watched so many people just like get in this, and I'll even use myself like years ago, like I would hyper fixate on what wasn't in front of me and where I wanted it to be. And then I would miss the mark because I just wasn't looking. You see what I'm saying? Where it was like, I was like, well, they need to be fuller, but it's like they don't need to be full. They just need to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how to explain that, but it's like just looking at it from the wrong lens in a certain sense. And so to me, it's like I always like having at least one other set of eyes looking around to see what's happening, just because I'm like, again, my pride won't let me not do that. Like, I'd rather just have someone else's as another opinion just in case to see what their insight is.
Yeah, it's always good to have. Like I know I'm that for you. Like I have two people that I call and I'm like, what do you think? And just so they can hear it. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. Or I'm like, okay, I didn't think of that, but thank you for telling me that. Um,
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like I as the coach have to be confident making the calls. And I'm not going to let someone steer me into a direction that I've never been before.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. Another one we got was having to ask you what your current cardio and macros are. So that just tells me that someone doesn't know where their plan's at.
Yeah, I don't know like how bad you could like I've made errors. But it's been on my end. Like perfect example, I had a client a couple weeks ago. He told me he couldn't get Primo. I had in his plan Primo. I had told him to just use Masteron instead. I didn't update his plan to um, pull the Primo out and put Masteron in. So then I was going back and making a change, and I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'm pushing Primo from 300 to 500." And I felt so dumb because he's like, "You mean Mastron?" And then I look back at the message, like, "Oh gosh, yeah, sorry." Like I was just me being stupid and didn't swap it out. Um, but like, so you're gonna have little errors like that, but you should have some form of something, whether it be email, WhatsApp, an app, like something where like you can look and see what they're doing. Like that's what, like, I have a note section on our app. I go through after every update and I make notes on what I did, what I'm looking at, what I'm anticipating to do. And then I go back because, like, yeah, you coach a certain amount of people. Like, if you were to ask me, like, Chris, what are you doing? Are you doing 35 minutes of cardio or just 30?
35.
35, okay. Yeah. Well, I'm really good like that. But like a lot of people can't do that. And especially like as they volume up clientele. But it's something that, um, you have to have a reference and then you can look at it. Okay, yeah, like now I'm refreshed going into their check-in. I know who I'm looking at. It's not like you're not paying attention to them. It's just you're double checking yourself because like you need to be prepared. But just to not know what they're doing blows my mind.
Yeah, it's like it's just really embarrassing.
Yeah, dude, I
Like
felt so stupid. I was like, oh, idiot, Alex. Like, why didn't you make that change?
freaking stupid. No, I mean that's no. I think to a certain degree, like stuff like that's normal, but when it's habitual, like what are your calories at? I'm like, well, again, it's like I don't have all of my people's macros memorized, but I have a spreadsheet system in place so that I can very easily just look up their name and I click on their plan and I click on their nutrition plan and I go, oh, okay, this is where we're at. 7 seconds. But when it's like you can't even think of where to look to find their plan, like that's really fucking bad, dude.
Yeah.
Like it's really bad.
Like how you even got there, I don't know.
Yeah, that's really embarrassing.
And that's the thing too, like, yeah, like what form of communication are you using where you can't just scroll up or go
Snapchat.
find it? Yeah, yeah, Snapchat. The only time I'm asking you what you ate is like peak week, like before the show, and we're in the hotel room. And we're like, all right, what we just eat? Because I'm
Yeah,
like, I like working like that. Like I enjoy that. Yes, I can go scroll up on my phone, but it's so much easier for you to just tell me what we just ate, and then I look at you and I look on the scale, and then we just go.
for
Um,
sure.
like I throw my ego out the sides, like just refresh my memory and let's look at this. But yeah, to be doing that just every update or like during a peak or during a prep, like some people don't know how many weeks out their clients are. Like how do you not know that, right?
Dude, it happened to me in 2022. I was like, I texted my coach and I was like, hey, I don't feel like ready. And I was like, I'm not saying this to question you. I just like, I feel like based on previous preps, I'm behind schedule. How many weeks out are you? I said 5. And he said, oh shit. And then emailed me a Palumbo keto diet 30 seconds later. That was for sure saved on file.
Dude, and like so I've even before, so I have it, we have an app and it has a countdown for shows. So I check that every time. But then also on your check-in form, even before I had an app, it always is like, how many weeks out are we?
Mm-hmm.
Like just so you can remind me. Because what I find is a lot of times like people don't know how to count to X amount of weeks out. Like, and then like I'll double check, like, hey, you sure this show date? I'll go search it, make sure that's the right date. Um, but yeah, it's just a lack of paying attention. And I think that's what a lot of these comes down to is just lack of effort and lack of attention. And, yes, as you do work with coaches who are just like the big box puppy mill type coaches, they're coaching 300 people at a time. you're not going to get much attention paid to. And that's an unfortunate thing because yes, they are going to see success, but like how much success is it like when you have 40 winners out of 400 people, right?
That's what's always killed me is like looking at it from a quality versus quantity perspective. Like, cool, you have X amount of overalls. You've done this for 30 years and coached hundreds of people. I would expect you to have a plethora of overalls,
Yeah,
you know?
I put 19 people on stage last year and had 12 overalls. Like I love that. But dude, me as a coach, I love going into shows where there's all the puppy mill teams and they're all in their little,
Little polos.
polos and their team this and team that. And I just come in with some like Jordans on and some, aggressive t-shirt. And I'm like, I'm here to fuck everyone's day up with one athlete or two athletes. Like I don't need
No.
all that. I need one. Give me one dog and I'm about to run this thing.
No,
And
bro, I don't also want a show where I have 10 of my athletes in it. You already see how I am. Like I'm a lunatic on show weekends. I want like 3 people max. Because
yeah,
then I can give 3 people the world and we can go do some cool shit and we can go have fun afterwards and call it a day. But when it gets above that number, you're like, dude, nobody's having a good time at that point.
yeah. Um, I think the most I've done 7 at a show.
Mm,
There's the Beach Bash in 23. That was fun. The thing I didn't like about it, like I could handle it. I mean, I was very
yeah,
tired.
for sure.
Um, But the thing I didn't like about it is I couldn't embrace with my athletes after they got off stage because I had more people going on.
For
That
sure.
that was the thing that bothered me the most, man. Because like, you get your wellness girls get done, and then good job. Okay, now I got to go do this, and then your classic guy gets done. Hey, good job. All right, well now my bikini's on. Like it was a awesome experience. Like we won a lot, but I I felt bad about it. Like my athletes loved it. That, oh, we're staying, we're rooting the team on, but like I wanted more one-on-one time with them. So if I had to
Yeah.
cap it, 3, maybe 4, is ideal. But yeah, I don't like taking more than 4.
No, I don't think it's just, at a certain point, it's almost not as exciting for me in a way. Cause like, I think back to Night of Champions, the year I did it, I had me getting on for classic. I had Levi in open. I had Kristen in figure. I had Skylar in bikini and wellness. So we had basically every division covered as far as putting bodies on stage. So it was just like
Yeah,
go, go, go. And I like, obviously there's a lot of moments that I like cherish from that weekend, but a lot of it was just a blur to me.
yeah,
I didn't get to have all those moments I wanted to have.
yeah. And that's something like I timeline athletes out well in advance so I can like I know okay I have this person and this person I'm set with my divisions if I need an extra because someone comes along and they're ready for that timeline but like I'm not you know I'm not planning 2 bikini girls to go head to head like I'm not doing that I'm like hey look there this is where you're at this is where you're at but again it's just preparing it's just being prepared as a coach like I knew where I was traveling to far before this season started, and my athletes knew it too.
Yeah, that's what this all is. This
Yeah,
is this is the plan.
I had to move I had to move some things around earlier this week, and I was having to tell people no. Like, I had to tell Austin no, he couldn't do a certain show because I was going to be at Junior Nats. I'm sorry, buddy, but like you're not doing that show because I need to be there, and I already have this planned. So
Yeah.
like, let me. It does get to a point where the scheduling is very critical and it needs to be precise. Um, but yeah,
It's a labor of love, but if you do it right, and that's the other thing, we'll talk about that too. I think it's like incredibly toxic to have, and it's always the puppy mill teams, to have numerous people in the same division, unless there are caveats to this, unless they're both seasoned competitors, or let's say it's a couple people, whatever. But I'll see where a team will have 9 bikini girls in a show, and 7 of them it's their first time. I'm like, one, I'm going to say this, ladies, you guys are way more mean to each other than any dude ever could be, I think. So, one thing, like, let's not take somebody who's never done this before, throw them in, and then say, hey, your competition's here,
Yeah.
right? Like, your teammates now your competition. Go have fun figuring that shit out. Like, it creates the most toxic environment, in my opinion. And it's like, we should try to, like, push for women, supporting women, men supporting men, all that good shit. But then also, the best you can do is first, second, and whatever. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like I had last year, I ended up having to kick a girl off because she was determined that she was going to compete against her teammates in their respective division. And I was like, for me, that means the best I can do is first and second, or I could have you do another show, and the best I can do is first and first. Why the fuck would I choose to make this awkward and stressful? And then the drama of all of that, of like, oh, well, maybe he's giving her more attention than me. And the best outcome is first and second.
Yeah.
Like, it makes no sense to me.
Yeah, man. So I'm with you. Like if I had like a first time bikini girl and then a advanced bikini girl. But hey, yeah, okay, like my goal for you, we're gonna win the novice. Let's see how you do in the open. But like it's kind of understood my open girl's coming to take this thing. So like it is what it is. I would never put like I don't want to put two of my big dogs against each other because that's two overalls I'm not getting now.
Yeah.
Like let one go take one out, let one go take another out. Same thing with my first not like my novice people. Like I don't want novice people to go against each other. If they're in
Mm-mm.
a different height class, cool. Like, okay, hey, look, you're gonna go against each other in the true novice class, but in your novice class, you'll be heighted out, whatever. But I usually tell them in advance, like, hey, just so you know, this person's in the show too. Is that cool? Great. If not, I can find you another one. Um, but yeah, my biggest thing is I don't want them to miss out on a win. Like if I've got athletes good enough to win, I don't want to put them against each other. But you have to communicate it. You have to let them know in advance. Like I've got Austin doing a show as one of my first timers, and like first timers pretty good. But like Austin should do just fine. Like they're different weight classes. Like it's not something that's going to be like this two dog type thing, right? But Austin and Adam were potentially competing against each other, and I had to tell Austin, say, hey man, I just need you to know I got to get this guy on stage at this time so he can go do this national show, and you're gonna have to pick.
Yeah.
But I try to avoid it at all costs. But I'm with you, man. Like I remember at the Nashville Fit Show, like I mean, dude, there was a whole team. There was probably 20 chicks on stage getting a team photo. And I got three, and I just beat all of them. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, cool. Like, yeah, it may be nice to have your bank account, but like, I'm choosing this. I'm choosing my three any day of the week. Like,
100%.
yeah,
Just the draw. I don't understand it because, like, you're setting people up for, like, creating a very harsh famine mentality within their own team. I'm like, as a coach, I need as minimal resistance and pushback and drama. Like, I want everybody to get along and be happy and healthy and push each other and motivate each other. The second you put yourself in that position, you are going to do anything other than that. And then again, to the point, none of y'all even won anyways. So kind
yeah,
of awkward. Like, we're all 20 people to fight for second place. Just does not sound like the business model for me.
yeah. It's definitely, and again, it takes away from that person. Like, I want that to be their show day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want it to be the bikini girl team show day. Like, that is your show day.
Yeah.
And that's something that I don't know, maybe we take things a little more serious or a little more personal, but like I want to give them the best like
Mm-hmm.
scenario, and so it comes out where yes, it's nice to be going to multiple shows because if you have to pull someone and move them, I had a girl, she had her appendix taken out, so I had to move her to another show. And I was, oh, well, that works great because I just have one doing this show and she's in a total different division. So y'all will both go do it together and I'll be there. So sometimes, like logistically speaking, you have to make that plan to like just travel for it. Um, but for the most part, like I try to make it like it's your show. I'm picking two or three. I'm gonna go and we're on to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, guys, I hope that this episode has provided some insight of what you should and should not see within coaches. As we always say, if you need one, we're both available, or we can send you to some other people we trust. But I would say us first and foremost. With that being said, look at me. I want you to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you're listening, I really want you to listen. Okay. I want you to leave us a 5-star review, please. And on that note, thank you for listening to the Coaches Union.